Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. And I have a video here that I've been kind of piecing together for a little while now. And it started off, I was just kind of looking into this out of my own interest. But as I kept looking into this stuff, I started to realize I was finding a lot of really interesting things. I knew I needed to make a video about this. And basically what I was doing was just going through a lot of the old awards shows, the Super Bowl halftime shows, things like this. And just looking for the different Illuminati symbolism or the satanic symbolism that's so prevalent today. I wondered, when did this stuff start? How long has this been going on? So basically this is going to be a brief history of a lot of the different awards shows and ceremonies, some of the halftime shows. As I kept going back further and further throughout the years, it was really interesting. Something started to become really clear. A lot of the symbolism has been around now for quite a while, well over 10 years now. But just over the last 5 years, it's really intensified. I literally saw it to where many years ago you watch some of these award shows or ceremonies and you really have to kind of look for the symbolism. There's stuff there. Oftentimes it's kind of hidden, but you have to kind of look for it, right? And as years go by, all of a sudden we start seeing a lot of this Illuminati symbolism show up all through these award shows and ceremonies and sporting events. And now we're at a time where it's no longer hidden at all. You don't really have to search that deep. And now we're at a point where it's blatantly satanic. We have these satanic rituals taking place at Super Bowl halftime shows. And at the same time, we see the New World Order agenda. All different elements of the agenda being pushed through a lot of these shows. And that's intensified as well just over the last 5 years. So this will be kind of a brief history of a lot of these events. I'm not covering absolutely everything because a lot of the events I looked at, there were kind of minor symbols here and there, but nothing too blatant, nothing too obvious. Also, there's a lot of awards shows. There's a lot of different ceremonies and sporting events. So to cover every single one of those and every single little detail, it'd be a video that would take hours to do. So I've condensed it. I found the best, I found the most important, I found the stuff I really feel I need to show you. And I think a lot of this is really going to surprise you. I found things that really surprised me. I didn't even realize was out there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get started. And we'll start right here with the basics. And this is a really good example right here. As you can see, this is a shot of a stage from 1999. This is back when they did the 71st Oscars. And this is in the Kodak Theater. And this right here is the front entrance to the Kodak Theater. And this is actually the Hollywood Freemason Lodge as well. As you can see right here, it's also the same place that they shoot Jimmy Kimmel Live, the talk show. And this right here is a shot from inside the Kodak Theater, and this is a much more current picture. They've changed the theater around quite a bit. No longer will you see the checkerboard floor. And once again, if we go back to this picture right here from '99, you can see the obvious checkerboard pattern on the floor, right? We know this is associated with the Freemasonic lodges. And that brings us back to this picture from 1999, the 71st Oscars. You can see a lot of the obvious symbolism taking place there. It's not the best picture, but this picture was really hard to find. This is a rare picture. There's only 2 of them I was able to find online. Now, since 1999, they've done a lot of revamping on the Kodak Theater. They've changed a few things around. This is a more current picture right here of inside the Kodak Theater. But as you can see right there in the roof, that's a huge sun disk, right? Now, Freemasons, the Illuminati, a lot of the people at the top of the pyramid in these secret societies are sun worshippers. And by extension, that's worship of Lucifer with these occult societies. Once again, here's another picture from inside the Kodak Theater, and this again is on the ceiling, and once again you can see the sun symbolism, the sun disk for the sun worship. And when I saw these images, the first thing I thought of was Astana, Kazakhstan. This is considered an Illuminati capital. If you're not familiar with Astana, please check it out. Do a little research on this. I've covered it in some videos in the past. Other people have covered this as well. But there's all kinds of occult symbolism all throughout the city of Astana. And once again, this is in Kazakhstan, and they literally call this an Illuminati capital because of all the occult symbolism throughout. But more specifically, I was thinking of this right here. This is inside the opera house of Astana, and you can see the enormous sun disk once again for the sun worship. Then we go back to the Kodak Theater, and again, the roof, you can see the sun disk. the sun worship. We will return back to the Kodak Theater in just a moment because they host a lot of award shows there, the Academy Awards, the Oscars, and there's some symbolism that's taken place throughout the years in there as well during these award shows. And that's just one of the shows that we're going to cover here. But before we do, I wanted to go back to one of the most infamous when it comes to Illuminati symbolism and occult rituals, and that's the MTV awards shows, the movie awards and the music awards. The image you're looking at right here, this is from the 2009 MTV Music Awards, and this is by far one of the most obvious examples of a Freemasonic ritual taking place right in front of the public. And this wasn't the only one. There were a lot of things that happened during the 2009 MTV Music Awards that were very obviously satanic, also very obviously Freemason ritual, but only for those with the eyes to see this stuff. Now this was 7 years ago. And just in the last 5 years or so, we've seen this kind of awakening happening more and more on a global scale, where people are starting to see this stuff and understand it. But back when this award show took place, most people had no idea. It was just MTV doing weird stuff, right? Artists being artists. For instance, here's Lady Gaga, and once again, this was during the 2009 MTV Music Video Awards, performing this blood ritual sacrifice, or a mock blood ritual sacrifice, on stage in front of all the people. And I'm sure most people that were just kind of watching casually had no idea what was taking place here. Now, most of you that are watching my videos have probably seen a few, and most of you are probably interested in the same kind of research and knowledge I'm interested in. So many of you have probably already seen this image, but for those of you who haven't, this is an MTV office literally inside a Masonic temple. They're not even trying to hide it. So what I want to do with MTV is I'm going to work our way backwards here. We're going to start at 2015, and I'm going to kind of go back with you throughout the years and show you some of the symbolism I've seen. I don't believe these are little visitors from outer space. In fact, I've shown in many of my videos that we are being programmed for an alien visitation. Some people believe this is going to be a Project Bluebeam type thing, something created by the government or the Illuminati, something fake. Then others believe that this could be real contact, and these things won't actually be aliens. These will be the fallen angels. These will be deceivers coming in as little space visitors. Once again, if you're unfamiliar with that subject, please check out my channel, check out some of my videos. Specifically, you can check out my playlist on alien demon deception. So this is fairly mild for now, yeah? But trust me, there's more. So let's go back. Now this right here is from 2013 MTV VMAs, and of course we see the obvious, the 666. And they'd make it even more obvious by putting it over one eye, right? So we know what they're trying to say here. And of course during the same year we had Lady Gaga coming out and doing the same thing. Once again, the 666 over one of the eyes, the all-seeing eye. Once again during 2013 we have Lady Gaga coming out here in this interesting getup, yeah? What the seashells have to do with this and the hair and everything else, it goes back to the goddess worship that's so prevalent with a lot of these secret societies. Essentially, she was trying to portray Venus. This is yet another one of those goddesses from the mystery schools, or a goddess of the Masons and the Illuminati. And of course, one of the most obvious examples, this is from 2013 MTV VMAs, and remember this whole situation here with Miley Cyrus and Robin Thicke, wearing the black and white, once again back to the checkerboard, back to the duality, back to the Masons, the higher level, Illuminati. Not saying Robin Thicke's one, he's certainly a tool in more than just one way, but he's just a tool being used by the system. And this whole ritual played out on stage as he is her handler, and Miley Cyrus is more under a mind control, or a beta sex kitten. And again, if you're not familiar with those subjects, please look into that, because this stuff is played out before us in media constantly. Now I'm going to cross over into another award show in just a moment, just to show you the symbolism here. But again, this is from the 2013 VMAs on MTV, and you can see how they're pushing the 777, right? And it's interesting because the same year at the Billboard Music Awards, Justin Bieber was pushing the same thing, now boarding Bieber Air Flight 777. So what is it they're trying to do? What are they trying to say? What are these occultists trying to push forward? We can see the obvious, right? And we know 777 relates to God. So obviously these people aren't very godly. It's a lot of the things they do, a lot of things they say, a lot of the other things they promote with all their symbolism. So we know they're working for the enemy, if you will. So again, I see this as kind of a mock ritual. This is mocking God in a public place. Now here's where we go a little deeper. It's also interesting to note that in the same year, 2013, we had the crash of the Flight 777. And we know that these occultists work through rituals. There's real magic at place here. Is it all just a coincidence that we're seeing these Illuminati artists, these satanic tools, pushing forth the 777 during 2 public rituals in the same year, and that same year we have a crash? Makes me wonder. When I see things like this, it makes me wonder if this really is all a part of their ritual. This is all part of some kind of a plan. And I know this is really out there for some of you, but I'm telling you, this is something that they do. We're dealing with demonic people. We're dealing with witches, sorcerers at the highest level of the pyramid system. So as I said, we're not going to focus on absolutely every single year and hit every single little detail. It's because that would take hours to do. This is going to be an overall view of a lot of these shows. So that being said, we're going to keep moving on through MTV and going back through the years. So during the 2011 VMAs, of course, they were talking a lot about Amy Winehouse, who is a member of what they call the 27 Club. You can look into the 27 Club. Many of our biggest music artists throughout the years have died at the age of 27. So many people believe this is evidence of ritual sacrifice. There's one thing to notice right here on Amy Winehouse, and that's right there on her wrist. You can see the lightning bolt. And that bolt is yet another symbol, a representation of Satan itself. And I'll show you some more examples of that as we go. And this right here is a shot from 2010. I thought it was really interesting. This is the sacrificial altar. You can also see this is the magic circle. You can see the person protected and safe within the circle, the darkness on the outside trying to get in. And once again, we see that same symbolism. As I said, the symbolism is in practically everything. And once you understand what to look for, you'll see it. And this is from CERN. This is from a short film they did called Symmetry. So again, we see the magic circle. We see the person protected in white in the middle. We see the darkness on the outside trying to break through or break in. 2009 was a really interesting year for these rituals. In fact, this was the year of Taylor Swift's initiation. You can see her right here, of course, with the 13, and that's the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. But there's much more I'm going to show you here in just a moment. Once again, we see Lady Gaga right from 2009. This is during her sacrifice in the cathedral on stage in front of everybody. But what was most interesting about the 2009 VMAs is this situation right here. You probably remember this, right? It was a big public stunt. That's where Kanye got up on stage and said, Taylor Swift doesn't deserve this award. This should go to Beyonce and all that stuff. And, of course, the public ate it up. This is all bread and circus. You know, the whole world's the stage. They stage this stuff. And, of course, it was just people going crazy on Twitter and on Facebook about this. I can't believe he did that, right? But this is part of a humiliation ritual that they do with a lot of these artists. They'll humiliate them, and that's part of their initiation. I'll cover that more in a bigger video sometime. But as you can see right here as the show wore on, here's Queen Beyonce back here, right? Watching the new initiate, both the women in red. You can look up the Lady in Red Illuminati and what all that signifies. But here we are, once again, with the sacrifice and the renewal. The initiation. Taylor Swift is one of them now, right? And this, of course, is just a quick shot from the 2011 MTV VMAs, and once again we can see the obvious symbolism. It's a huge eye back there, right? And within the eye, deep inside the iris, we see the Illuminati pyramid. Also, during the 2011 VMAs, we have this moment right here with Katy Perry, and she's got the cube on her head. It doesn't get much more obvious than that. Not everybody understands that symbolism. Some of you out there do. Of course, the cube goes back to Saturn, ultimately back to Satan or Saturnalia cults. You know, the devil has many names and many disguises, and this is just but one. And this is from the 2008 MTV VMAs, of course, more pyramids. No surprise there, right? So now we're going to jump past a few years. Once again, you can go look throughout the years in these ceremonies, and you're going to see some symbols here and there, some things there and there. But I wanted to just go back. If I took every one of those years, year by year, it'd take a really long time, as I said. So let's just go ahead and push it down to 2001. 2001, right? 15 years ago. And we see that the same symbolism, to a degree, is still up on stage. And this time it was Britney Spears. That was the tool that they were using. And of course, here she is with the serpent, right? And this is way, way long time ago, especially with knowledge of the Illuminati and the occult societies and the kind of things they're doing. So back then, most people were just like, oh wow, it's a hot chick with a snake. We know better now, don't we? So now we're going to jump back to 1999 MTV VMAs, and here's the obvious stuff right here, of course. You see the ISIS symbolism, the Egyptian symbolism. But there's much more. I'm about to show you something that really surprised me when I first saw it as well, from 1999 in the MTV VMAs, but I thought it was very interesting. What I'm about to show you is a really interesting example of 9/11 predictive programming that took place during the MTV VMAs 1999. Now, again, if you're not familiar with that subject, please look it up, because these occultists were showing us for years before 9/11 happened that it was coming. And this has been deciphered and picked apart by tons and tons of people. Lots of people have done videos on this stuff and shown you where they were hinting at what was to come before it came. This next example that I'm about to show you is one I'd never seen anyone else talk about, and to me it's just right in our face, especially considering that 9/11 happened just a couple years right after that. And we know that oftentimes with these occultists, it's a level of lesser magic. They tell you what they're going to do before they do it. They're not obvious about it. These people work in secret. It's the occult. It's hidden, yeah. They see what's coming. We don't. Now check this out. This was the stage during the MTV VMAs at one point for the 1999 awards show. I mean, does it get any more obvious than that? I mean, just take a look at that. They even have the Twin Towers in the background, and you can see the one getting broken off right there in the middle. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Creepy. So now we're going to 1998, the MTV VMAs, and we find Madonna on stage. And this, of course, is a representation of Kali. And where else have we seen Kali, especially recently? Well, this, of course, is a picture of Kali, the Hindu goddess. Now this, of course, is yet another example of goddess of death, Kali, and they recently did this, and they projected her up onto the Empire State Building in New York City. So isn't it interesting, once again, how all these things interconnect? These are elements of the beast system that have manifested. And 1998 was also the year of Marilyn Manson on MTV, and you can see right here he's pushing that trans agenda. See, that trans agenda has been pushed on the kids all the way back since 98 and even before that, but right here is a really obvious example. And what's also interesting is he had all these police officers up on stage wearing pink uniforms. They're all men, and at the end of his performance, all the guys turned to each other and started making out on stage. So again, we see them pushing this gay agenda and also the trans agenda. And here's just another photo of Marilyn Manson, but again, you can see the lightning bolt and that connection back to the satanic. He also has the all-seeing eye, the one eye, and of course he's wearing the Mickey Mouse ears, which goes back to a lot of the Disney mind control programming. Now here's just a quick shot from the 1995 MTV Video Music Awards, and you see right there front and center, again you got the all-seeing eye. And it's also interesting because you see the all-seeing eye there surrounded by the star. The star has the different colors on each tip. And this goes back to the occult as well. Each one of those colors are representing the elements. There's 4 of them, and the 5th represents the spirit. And just under their handshake, you can see a massive all-seeing eye. And here's another shot from 95. This is the band TLC performing something up on stage. But again, we see the black and white, right? The duality, back to the checkerboard as well, and back to the Masons. So next stop is 1993 MTV VMA, and you see the obvious all-seeing eye there. This is also the year of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and again on stage we have the duality, right? The black and white, the checkerboard, again. I'm going to show you just a few examples from the Brit Awards, B-R-I-T, and of course this is the stage for Katy Perry. So of course we have the Egyptian motif once again. This goes back to the mystery schools, again pushing forth these Illuminati ideologies. I mean, seriously, just look at this image. It's just crazy to me, man. This is right out in public. This is during huge awards shows where families are watching, but it just seems like so few people are even questioning this stuff. but it's right there in front of your face. It's obviously satanic stuff being played out right in front of the public. Now this was also from the Brit Awards, and who do we have? Taylor Swift once again, right? And as you see her, she's entering a masquerade. It's like a ball. In the background there you can see on the floor, again we have the black and white Masonic tiles, right, for the duality. So she enters this masquerade or this ball, and everybody else is wearing a mask, and she's just right in there with them. But what they're trying to tell us right here, and what I saw as soon as I saw this was, well, you may have seen some of these, maybe not, but these are actual photos from a Rothschild Illuminati party back in 1972. These are really old photos, and it just came out online within the last year or so. So again, you'll remember from the movie Eyes Wide Shut, same thing. It was a masquerade, it was a ball, everybody's wearing masks, and this turned into a big orgy. But again, just another example of how this stuff is put forth right in front of our face. This stuff is leaked. We're told some of these secrets through media, all forms of media, but still so few people can see it. And here's just another example. This is from the 2008 Brit Awards, and of course we have the obvious pyramid right there. And again, here's another example from the 2008 Brit Awards. You see the stuff right there in the middle is fairly obvious. You've got the skull, or just another example of the death culture. We see this in a lot of clothing, death culture being put forward, and on top of the skull is a huge bat. What you may not have seen those, if you look on the sides of the stage, this right here is an image of the Egyptian jackal-headed god Anubis. Now if you take a closer look at the stage, over to the left and over to the right, you'll see these two representations of the jackal-headed dog god Anubis. And it's also interesting to note that just a few years ago they put up a huge statue of Anubis out of the Denver International Airport. And of course the Denver International Airport is chock full of occult symbolism, all having to do with the New World Order. So again, we can see how these mystery schools, these mystery religions, this Illuminati Egyptian motif keeps coming out in all kinds of ways all around the world. Now this one right here is really interesting to me as well. This is from the 2011 Brit Awards. That's the band Take That. And it's pretty obvious to see the propaganda taking place here, right? It's from several years ago, and they're putting forth the idea of that police state. And as soon as I saw this, it reminded me of yet another award show, very famously was putting forth this police state idea. Once again, it's, quote, Queen Beyonce, another one of the most famous Illuminati tools. This right here is from the Super Bowl in 2010. As you can see, she's bringing in the police force again into the stadium. And for those who don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear these things, they're just lost on this. Like, oh, cool, man, that's pretty crazy, you know? They don't get this stuff. But again, you can see this is all social engineering. It's predictive programming. This stuff was put into place several years ago, slowly ushering it in. So is it really any surprise that just a few years later, this is what America is beginning to actually look like? And here's just a few more examples from the Brit Awards. This is from 2007. Once again, we see Amy Winehouse, but again, we find the black and white, right? And again, with the duality. And this is from the Brit Awards 2006. We see the same theme playing out, right? And here's a closer shot from that same stage. Again, the black and the white. And here's the other one I was going to show you from the Brit Awards. Again, you can go through any year of these Brit Awards, at least recently, and you'll find different little things here and there. I'm just trying to show you the biggest ones, but I thought this was interesting because this goes all the way back to the year 2000. If you look just beyond the legs there, the obvious sexual symbolism taking place, it's a huge all-seeing eye right there in the very back. You can probably see that. Right there in the front with the legs spread and all this. This is the Spice Girls. We're actually doing some kind of a performance up there. But if anything, I'd see this as just pushing forward, again, that goddess agenda, that goddess worship. Here's just a few examples I wanted to show you from some of the American Music Awards shows, but, I mean, right there you go, right? Don't really need to explain that one, but just right there in front of your face, all over the stage, the all-seeing eyes. Here's another example from the American Music Awards. This is 2014. Taylor Swift, once again, at it again. And we've got the black and white in the back, right? Again, with the duality. Next, I'm just going to show you a few examples from some of the kids' award shows out there. This isn't one of them. I just wanted to put this in there. But this is from the Ellen Show. That's Willow Smith, Will Smith's daughter. And again, what do we have? That's right, the checkerboard floor. Now, I know some of you understand this and get it. And I'm hoping if you came into this video not seeing this stuff and understanding it, that it's starting to become a lot more clear to you now. You're starting to see what's really going on and what it is and who it is that really controls this whole industry. Here's some interesting symbolism from the Teen Choice Awards 2015. Not a lot of thinking needs to go into this one. You can see all the obvious pyramids, right? As again, I told you, this is in every one of the shows at this point. You see it all over the place. You can even jump back a little bit. This here's from 2012. And here's something else I thought was interesting. It's a Teen Choice from 2014, but it's got Nicki Minaj as hosting it. And I don't know if you're not familiar with Nicki Minaj's work or anything. You know, I wouldn't even recommend to look it up, but you can read about it maybe, and you'd find that she's absolutely filthy, really filthy, disgusting, debaucherous. But these are the people who are speaking to your kids now. These are the people who your teenagers are looking up to. This is another example of the Teen Choice from 2015 with the pyramids. There's something else I wanted to show you I thought was really interesting. This goes back to 2012, the Teen Choice Awards for 2012, and you can see that symbol there, right? Does that symbol look familiar to you? Well, it should. Now are you seeing it? Now do you see what it is? It's subtle. Once again, this is just one of those ways they can get that out into your kids' minds. They use symbols. Symbolism is a language that not everybody understands, but this is Obama's logo. So isn't it interesting that we find his logo hidden right before our very eyes at the Teen Choice Awards? Once again, this is predictive programming for the kids. Something else I saw, another really interesting symbol here they used, but this is another one for the Teen Choice Awards. I saw this in a few other places, but I thought it was really interesting because it almost looks to me with the symbolism right here, it's a representation of the second Earth, Planet X, Nibiru. Some people call it wormwood, some call it the Great Millstone. There's a few more of these shows I want to get into in just a moment. Before I do, I'm just going to show you some of the obvious ones because a lot of people are going to be wondering, you know, why they didn't see more of this. But so over the last few years, there's so many people now that are awake that a lot of people are making videos on all this stuff. I've made my share and a lot of other people are doing them out there. So these are just a few of the examples, and most of these, just looking at them, you're going to remember it. I mean, this is from the Grammys. It's Katy Perry. Doesn't need a whole lot of explaining there, I don't think. There's another one from the Grammys. We see what's going on right here is Nicki Minaj again. We got the Pope figure, or the false prophet, some might say. There's another example from the same show, the Grammys. You have this levitating, demon-possessed Nicki Minaj at one point. From the 2014 Grammys, of course, more of Katy Perry. Again, more of Katy Perry. Of course, the Dark Horse was the song. We know all about the Dark Horse, right? This could be a representation of the horse that's placed out at the Denver International Airport. Also just another war horse, or another horse of Armageddon, horse of the end. It was all so obvious, and it's become so obvious that they're even putting stuff out in the mainstream now. 19 Grammy moments that prove the Illuminati is definitely real. And they weren't even being tongue-in-cheek about that one so much. They're really putting stuff out there, right? They can't hide it anymore. That's the thing. Madonna did her thing at the 2014 Grammys as well. They actually had a massive gay marriage thing that happened. A lot of gay couples were there, and they did a whole gay marriage ceremony during the actual Grammys. So again, it just goes to show you all these Illuminati public rituals playing out right before people's faces. This is from the halftime show, of course, with Katy Perry, another example with lots and lots of symbolism taking place there. This is 2012 of Madonna during her halftime show, and of course there's plenty of symbolism there as well. The London Olympics is another one. Lots of people have made lots of videos on London Olympics. I did that as well. I just wanted to show you a few things there. Like I said, I really didn't want to cover so much of the events taking place over the last few years just because so many people have done that. And it's a good thing. It shows that there's a lot of people awake, right? But even here, you can see that the regular folk, just people are starting to talk about this stuff. Even E! put it out there, though. Did we just witness actual witchcraft during Katy Perry's Grammy performance? Here's just another one I wanted to show as far as the kids' awards shows go. But this right here was one of the promo pictures I found for the 2013 Kids' Choice Awards. Selena Gomez was actually a part of that one. But once again, you got the lightning bolts there, you've got the mocking of Jesus Christ, got the Illuminati pyramid with the eye, and then of course you have her mimicking blowing her own brains out. But again, this is for the kids. This is all about the children. Here's just a few examples. I wanted to show you the Academy Awards. I showed you that image in the very beginning from way back from the Kodak Theater where all these award shows kind of started. Academy Awards never had tons of this symbolism throughout the years I was looking at. It was always kind of more of an esteemed event for the most part, at least as far as Hollywood standards go. They tried to keep it pretty clean, you didn't see a whole lot of this stuff, but that's all changed over the last few years. Again, we see that gay agenda, the trans agenda right here. That's James Franco in the dress right there, and he hosted the awards show just a few years ago, so we see this playing out again. This is back when Ben Affleck won some awards, but you see the lady in red, of course. There's always the lady in red at all of these events. And this is from the most recent Oscars 2015. You got Neil Patrick Harris hosted it. Of course, we have the pyramids on the steps. And of course, we have this. If you look behind him, you'll see all the sun discs, right? So again, we have the sun discs with the sun worship. Right there, we got this guy naked, basically, underwear up on stage. And again, this is a ritual. I was telling you earlier about the shaming, the public shaming. Even looking at some of the advertisements, this is a massive black sun. You can see that black sun disc right there in the middle, right? So we got the black sun, back to Saturn, back to Satan, back to Saturnalia. All this stuff is connected. As I said, the devil goes by many names and has many images associated with it. It's interesting, even if you jump over to the British Academy Film Awards, which is essentially their equivalent of ours, you can see this obvious symbolism, right? There's no denying. You got the all-seeing eye, the illuminated eye right there. It's also interesting because, as I said, this doesn't just affect America at this point. This is global. It's all over the place. This is from the Africa Movie Academy Awards. Of course, there's more symbolism. You can see the statue there with the arms up, right? And it's obviously a woman. You got the curves and all that there. And the whole thing they're trying to represent right there goes back again to goddess worship, guys. So again, you can see where they're doing this. They're putting that goddess worship out there right in front of our faces. But again, so few people see or understand. Here's just another example of the 2015 Oscars with the obvious symbolism. He's holding the spiral there in the middle, of course. This goes back to mind control. Many of us know that that's a big part of this whole Illuminati agenda, even on a very massive scale. Even looking down to the corners, look down there to the right, and we have the all-seeing eye, and what's it got? A big cube on top of its head. We've seen that before as well. And then speaking of the kids' award shows, this right here is from the Radio Disney Music Awards, just a couple shots from there, but right there in the back, of course, you got the pyramid and the sun, and they make it a lot more obvious right here. So even on the kids' shows, man, there's no escaping this stuff. As this beast system is being revealed, okay, as the veil is lifting, and it is, all this stuff is coming out. This will be normal, basically is at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and start closing it up a little bit here, and I'm going to leave you with this one. I thought this was really interesting. It's one of the last award shows here I kind of wanted to show you, but it's the Guy's Choice Award from 2014. This is from the Spike Network, but you got to check this out. Check out their awards, folks. And of course, Rihanna got one, right? But you got the horns, guys. And we know where the horns go back to, right? Back to the Baphomet. It's really creepy that they put all these people up. They're up for awards, and they put them up here with the horns. As I said, man, it just doesn't get much more blatant. I think we took a pretty good journey here. I didn't show you absolutely everything. Like I said, if I was to hit every single detail of every award show, this video would be like 2 or 3 hours long. I just wanted to show you some of the main points to kind of get the point across, to show you that this has been a slow indoctrination into this whole satanic system. We're at the point now where it's incredibly obvious. So I'll leave you with this image right here. This is from the 2014 Nuclear Summit. This is all the different leaders from all around the world, including Obama. He was there. They all met up for this massive nuclear summit. As you can see right here in the middle, we have the pyramid, right? Underneath the pyramid, once again, another massive sun disk. If you were to look closer at that, there's hieroglyphics written all around it as well. So, as I said, guys, this has been a slow indoctrination, but we're at a point right now where it's blatant. It's right in front of our face. The beast system is being revealed. This world really is moving towards a new world order, a one world system, and the Antichrist will be on the scene. Understand that the devil truly is in charge of this domain. And all these forces involved in this beast system, this pyramid system, have been hard at work for many years to create this one world system. We're getting really close. The only way out is a relationship with God. So thanks again for checking out the video, you guys. Take care out there, and I'll talk to you real soon.